Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the A segment of episode 11 of Codename Kids Next Door, Operation P.I.A.N.O. We begin this segment with the Sector V operatives of the Kids Next Door rushing off to the Skyclaw, one of their flying vehicles, for a mission that seems especially important to Number 4. Aboard the Skyclaw, Number 1 explains that Number 4 has received a report about a semi-truck that's carrying what the Kids Next Door refer to as Type P kid torture devices. And so the Kids Next Door's mission is to find the semi-truck and destroy these Type P kid torture devices before the semi-truck can reach each device's respective destinations. So the Skyclaw does manage to find the semi-truck. It's hard to miss. It's a really big semi-truck. It's big enough where the semi-truck actually has to ride on two streets that are separated by some grass in the middle. Yeah, so normally what would be two different streets, the semi-truck is big enough to cover both of these streets. And it's also really tall. The semi-truck driver has to use a rope ladder in order to climb in and out of the semi-truck because of how big it is. And it's a 95-wheeler as well. So anyway, it's not hard for the Skyclaw to find the semi-truck. And once they do find it, 4 of the 5 Sector V operatives land on the roof of the semi-truck container. Number 2 stays in the Skyclaw to pilot it. And Number 2 also uses some technology to open up a hole at the top of the container of the semi-truck. And Number 1, Number 4, and Number 5 enter the container of the semi-truck. Number 3 stays on the roof to relay any instructions that Number 1 gives to Number 2. So inside the container, inside the container, we, as well as Number 1, Number 4, and Number 5, see that the Type P kid torture devices are pianos. Number 5 is baffled by this, or she seems to think that this is ridiculous. But Number 4 insists that pianos really are torture devices, saying how adults would force kids to play the same song over and over again ad nauseum. And Number 4 also admits that among these pianos, one of them is a piano that his, Number 4's mom, had ordered for him to play. Number 1 ends up agreeing with Number 4 that the pianos are torture devices and that they need to destroy them. So Number 1 Number 1 gives Number 3 instructions to give to Number 2 to begin their plan to eliminate the pianos. So what happens is Number 2 will use a claw on the Skyclaw, of course, to grab hold of one of the pianos by going through the hole that's at the top of the container of the semi-truck. And then the claw will pull the piano up into, I guess you could call it a shredder, and naturally the shredder will destroy the piano. So that's the process. Number 1, Number 4, Number 5 will bring a piano out to the center of the container where the hole is, so that Number 2 can lower the claw, bring up the claw with the piano to bring the piano through the shredder. And they're making progress. Number 1, Number 5, Number 3, and Number 2 are satisfied with the results of this procedure. Number 4, however, is growing impatient. He thinks that the procedure is taking too long, so he wants to speed things up with destroying the pianos. Number 4's solution is to open up the door at the back of the container of the semi-truck. And the moment he succeeds in opening up the doors, the semi-truck goes up a steep cliff. and this causes the pianos to slide towards the back of the container. And because the door is open, that means the pianos are falling out of the semi-truck and thus being destroyed as they hit the ground. But the problem is number 4 gets caught in the middle of the pianos falling out. So we then cut to a later point where we're back at the Sector V treehouse, and we see that number 4 is now badly injured. He's wearing several casts, and he has to stay in a wheelchair for the time being now. Number 1 questions his teammates about what they learned from this particular mission, and three of the teammates, or 3 of the Sector V operatives, give answers along the lines about how you shouldn't deviate from procedure or planned. Yeah, you shouldn't deviate from planned procedures, and you should follow these procedures clearly or explicitly. Number 4, though, comments that pianos are heavy, and number 1 decides that's good enough of an answer. But number 1 explains that number 4's reckless strategy didn't get all of the pianos. There's still one left on the semi-truck, and it happens to be the piano that number 4's mom had ordered for number 4 to play. And number 4 naturally wants to get rid of this piano, but number 1 points out to number 4 that he's in no position to take part in this mission now. So number 1 says that they were able to find a substitute for number 4, although it was very last minute. The substitute for number 4 is a hamster, and the other Sector V operatives do find the hamster to be rather adorable, and number 4 is the only one who's not impressed. He's rather frustrated that his substitute is a hamster. But the hamster, number 4, proves to be very clever, actually. He's apparently come up with a plan of some sort. So the Sector V operatives, except for number 4, 4 of the 5 Sector V operatives and hamster number 4 go off into the Skyclaw to resume the mission. Number 4, though, has doubts that hamster number 4's plan will be successful, and he thinks hamster number 4 will ruin the mission or cause the mission to become a failure. So number 4 actually does try to exit the treehouse, which proves to be very difficult for him given his current injuries. Back on the highway, we see we're back with the semi-truck, and the semi-truck driver seems to be oblivious to what happened to most of the pianos, but eventually he sees hamster number 4 in a little toy car that seems to have crashed on the side of the road. This is part of a trick or a plan. Yeah, hamster number 4 is pretending that he got into a car crash so that he can distract the semi-truck driver so that the other 4 Sector V operatives can get rid of the last piano while he's distracted. So the semi-truck driver pulls over, and he listens to what hamster number 4 tells him about, not just about a car crash, but other tragedies that have allegedly befelled, that he allegedly endured. And the semi-truck driver can sympathize with this, mentioning his own troubles. And while this is happening, number 1, number 3, and number 5 board they go inside the container of the semi-truck, and they're slowly but steadily trying to get the piano out of the container, but it's a very heavy piano. Number 2 is staying on the ground, and it looks like he's making sure how much further they have to go to get the piano out, and he also is probably keeping guard to make sure that no one else spots them. So while this is going on, eventually number 1, number 3, and number 5 do manage to get the piano just at the edge of the container. So they climb down out of the container, and they're standing with number 2 trying to figure out how to get it completely out of the container. But while they're trying to think of their next course of action, number 4 does end up arriving on the highway, and he seems pretty confident that hamster number 4's plan is a failure. But what number 4 doesn't seem to realize is that the plan ended up failing, and the semi-truck driver found out that this was a trick because number 4 himself blabbed about the plan to the semi-truck driver's face. And the semi-truck driver is upset that he was deceived by hamster number 4. And he climbs back into the semi-truck and he starts it up. But when he starts the semi-truck up, the piano falls out of the container and it hits the 4 other Sector V operatives. So we're back at the Sector V treehouse now, and number 4 is still has his injuries right now. He's still wearing casts and in a wheelchair, but he feels happy that the pianos have been destroyed, especially the one that was meant for him. But we see that the 4 other Sector V operatives are now in casts and they're in wheelchairs now as well. And they're not happy. They're very irritated about how number 4's blundering of the mission is what led to them getting injured as well. But then the treehouse computer mentions that satellite readings have picked up on a semi-truck that's carrying a supply of violins. So the kids next door are going to go on a mission to stop the violin semi-truck, but the Sector V operatives themselves can't go on this mission due to their injuries. So we see that it's not just number 4, but the 4 other Sector V operatives have hamster substitutes to take part on this mission. So the segment ends with the hamsters next door beginning their mission to get rid of the semi-truck full of violins. So this segment is another number 4 spotlight, another number 4 spotlight appearance. And this segment also stands out because there actually really wasn't a villain in this particular segment. I mean, the only other character besides the Sector V operatives and their hamster counterparts was the semi-truck driver, but he wasn't a bad guy at all. He wasn't a villain. He wasn't malicious. He was just doing his job of driving a semi-truck. And yeah, that's another good example of season 1 showing that not all adults are bad. And this segment shows that not all adults are bad, which was a lot rarer in season 1 compared to the rest of the series, which showed more of the shades of gray in the whole kid and adult conflict, and teens, the kid, teen, and adult conflict. The semi-truck driver is another example of season 1 showing us an adult who's not evil, just someone doing their job. And the hamsters, that's right, the hamsters acting as kids next door operatives is actually pretty interesting because the hamsters next door actually do return in a later segment where they play a significant role. But that's not until the 6th season, the last season of the series. And actually, now that I think about it, you could say that this segment is also an example of early installment weirdness because the hamsters next door kind of have... the hamsters next door could be seen as characterization marches on. Well, at least hamster number 4, I should say, since he's the only one of the hamster next door operatives that we actually get to see in a greater detail in this segment, because the other 4 hamster operatives only appear at the end of the segment. But hamster number 4 has an example of characterization marches on, because in this segment, hamster number 4 is actually shown to be very clever compared to number 4, the human operative. Whereas by the time the hamsters next door return later on, hamster number 4 not only looks more like a hamster equivalent of number 4, but he acts more like a hamster equivalent to number 4. And yeah, in the other Hamster Next Door operatives, some of them do show like some traits that are similar to their human counterparts, like number 1's sunglasses, number 2's pilot helmet, and number 5's hat. But they become more obvious hamster counterparts to their human counterparts in their later appearance when they return in season 6. But actually, now that I think about it, number 4's characterization in this segment could also be a debatable example of early installment weirdness. And I say debatable because some fans would argue that this might be the first example of number 4 kind of showing himself as the dumb member of the Sector V operatives, the one who makes dumb decisions. But others would argue that in season 1 and season 2, number 4 wasn't really dumb per se, but more like he was just more thick-headed, or more like he didn't think things through all the way. And you could see that, and one could make the argument that that was the case in this segment, because number 4's reason for deviating from the plan was to speed up the process of destroying the pianos, but he didn't really think ahead about how he ended up getting hurt because of his deviation from strategy. And some fans might make the argument that number 4 came off as dumb in this segment because of how he pretty much ruined hamster number 4's plan by blabbing about it to the semi-truck driver. Though I guess some have argued as well that it was more of him just letting him being blinded by him letting his personal bias about hamster number 4 being his substitute get the better of him, and he was blind that the mission's failure was a self-fulfilling prophecy because of his own actions. So again, whether you'd argue that's more him being dumb or more of him just being thick-headed and just not thinking things through all the way, yeah, I could see a case for both of those examples. But yeah, it's an interesting debate all the same, and it kind of does highlight how, yeah, most fans would agree it's around season 3 when number 4's dumb moments get played up more or exaggerated more. But whether he had them at all in the first 2 seasons or not, that's a debate that a lot of fans seem to have based on my observations. But otherwise, yeah, I think that's about it for this particular segment. So we get a spotlight appearance for number 4, which may or may not be a debatable example of number 4's earlier characterization or a more downplayed example of number 4's more prevalent characterization later on. And we do get a little preview with the hamsters next door, who end up becoming more important in a later segment much later on. So yeah, it was a pretty fun segment overall. And like I said, I did like how we got to see another adult who's not evil during season 1, just a guy who's just doing his job. And otherwise though, yeah, I think that's it for now. So as of this video, we've now discussed the A segment of episode 11 of Codename Kids Next Door on this channel. Take care, and until next time.